Hello everyone and welcome to Quantum Universum. If this is your first time watching one of these videos, I suggest you start from the previous chapters. You can find them all collected in the playlist dedicated to Tafti, the priestess, here on the channel. Each episode is a fundamental step for understanding and practicing this powerful path of awakening. Today we'll dive into another important chapter. But first, let's review what we learned in the previous one. We understood that, in the trap of the current frame, you are held back by your snail antennae and your shell. To escape the trap, you must reconfigure yourself and switch to an active mode. Don't wait and hope. Set reality instead. This requires constant practice in managing the upcoming frame. The algorithm is, as soon as you're in a state of expectation, intention, or a problem arises, you must immediately activate and illuminate the frame. And now, let's step into this new chapter together. As always, I'll read you the key passages from the book and immediately provide the explanation. Original text. You must set not only those events whose outcome is uncertain, but also those that are very likely to happen. For example, you're heading somewhere and you intend to walk through a door. You know this event will happen no matter what, but illuminate it anyway, with thoughts, words, or, better yet, visually imagine yourself opening the door and walking through it. Managing the movement of the frame with regard to simple events is the most effective form of training through which you'll learn to wake up and control your attention. You will develop contact with your brain, your capacity for visualization, and your intention. You'll switch to active mode, and eventually, you'll acquire the ability to free yourself from the script that guides you and begin to set your own reality. What will happen once you're activated? You will become the only character in your surroundings who doesn't obey an external script. Conversely, the moment you forget yourself and sink back into the scene, you immediately identify with it, becoming an integral part of it, dependent, non-autonomous, in other words, a mannequin. But look, once again you've shifted your attention away from the current frame and illuminated the future one. In that moment, you came alive in the film and began to move freely by your own discretion. You're still in the same mannequin, but in a completely different quality. You know those store mannequins that one day just walk out of the window display and go their own way? Well, something like that happens to you too. You're still in the film, but at the same time, you've stepped out of the sequence, as if your individual frame could now move freely across the reel. In other words, we could say that now your frame rate has changed compared to the frame rate of reality, and this allows you to detach from the main script. Explanation. In this new chapter, Tafti guides us through a key transition, the real training necessary to learn how to direct reality. And the first thing she tells us is very intriguing. You shouldn't only set what is uncertain or difficult. You must also set what is certain to happen. For example, you're about to walk through a door. You already know you will. There's no doubt. And yet, Tafti says, illuminate it anyway. Imagine yourself opening the door, walking in. Do it through thoughts, words, visualization. Why? Because this is the best training possible. Practicing with what's certain helps strengthen your ability to set intention, to keep it active, to feel the connection with your brain, and above all, to stay awake. At first, it's with these small things that we can truly learn. By illuminating even the ordinary frames, we begin to move consciously through the film. We no longer react like mannequins. We start to direct our gestures, even the simplest ones. And what happens then? Tafti explains it powerfully. You will become the only characters in your surroundings who do not obey an external script. This is a turning point. As long as you're awake, you stop following the script. You begin to move on your own. But be careful, because the moment you forget yourself, even for a second, you fall back into the scene. You identify with it, becoming once again a passive element, a mannequin. And yet, if you manage to stay aware and illuminate the future, something deep begins to shift. TAFTI describes it beautifully. You're still in the same mannequin, but in a completely different quality. It's like a store mannequin that suddenly comes to life, steps out of the window, and walks off on its own. That's exactly what happens when you learn to direct the upcoming frame. You're still in the film, but you've gained autonomy. You're no longer swept along by the collective flow. In fact, TAFTI tells us your frame rate changes. You're no longer synchronized with the standard pace of reality. It's as if you've stepped off the main reel and onto a parallel film strip, lighter, more alive, and more uniquely yours. This is the beginning of the reconfiguration. You're not just changing your life, you're changing your vibration, you're changing your timeline, you're changing your reality. Original text. The future that hasn't yet arrived pulls you out of the current sequence when you grab hold of that very future and attempt to influence it. The imminent reality, though recorded in the archive of eternity, is still multivariant and, moreover, has not yet been definitively determined or set by anyone. It doesn't belong to anyone yet. If someone steps in to set it, it will obey. And if that someone is you, then it will become yours. Do you want reality to be yours? Good. Then take it and set it yourself. This is for you a fundamentally new way of reacting, behaving, and existing. The difference lies in the fact that your attention is no longer stuck in the current frame, but is now reaching forward. Continuation is replaced by anticipation, and passive waiting becomes active influence. You're no longer following reality like something on a leash. You are now directing and encouraging it yourself. However, before reality can truly become yours, it is necessary, my little bandits, that you perform a reconfiguration. I can't do it for you. You won't succeed all at once. You'll only be able to manifest what aligns with your everyday experience. Until you become firmly convinced that you are capable of setting reality, it will slip away and not yield to you. You can only redraw the model in the same way it was created, through consistent daily practice. Monitor the upcoming frame, monitor yourself, and set the reality. If you follow my advice, reality will follow you. Explanation. In this chapter's conclusion, TAFTI brings us straight to the heart of transformation. The future reality is not fixed. Even though it's recorded in the archive of eternity, it hasn't yet been determined. It belongs to no one until someone takes it into their own hands. And if that someone is you, then that reality becomes yours. This is the most powerful revelation so far. Do you want reality to be yours? Fine. Then take it and set it yourself. This changes everything. We're no longer just talking about techniques or visualizations. We're talking about a new way of being, a new mode of conscious existence, a complete shift in how we react, decide, and live. As long as our attention is glued to the current frame, we live reactively, always one step behind life. But when we learn to shift our attention forward, we begin to live in active anticipation, not waiting for things to happen, but influencing them before they do. We're no longer walking behind reality like something on a leash. We're the ones leading it. But, and TAFTI is always honest, before this can happen fully, there's an essential step. You must perform a reconfiguration, my little bandits. This is the key to the chapter. You can't change your destiny until you reconfigure your mind. You can't move onto new lines of reality if you're still trapped in the old model within. No one can do this reconfiguration for you, not even TAFTI. And, she adds with clarity, at first, not everything will work. You'll only be able to realize what aligns with your current daily experience, what you believe is possible. That's why daily practice is essential. Simple, consistent, constructive training, monitor the upcoming frame, observe yourself, set the reality. Only in this way, little by little, does your old mental model collapse and get replaced by a new one, freer, more powerful, more truly yours. And reality, as TAFTI concludes, will respond. If you listen to my advice, reality will listen to you. And perhaps this is the most important message of all. Reality listens to those who are awake. Reality opens up to those who know how to set it. And you can become that someone. In this chapter, TAFTI has shown us the essential step to truly becoming conscious creators of our reality. It's no longer enough to react, to hope, or to follow what happens. We must learn to direct future reality, and to do that, a deep reconfiguration of how we think, act, and exist is required. It's not magic and it's not theory. It's daily practice. Every day, frame by frame, we can stop living on the leash of an external script and finally start walking through the film awake, setting the scene ourselves for what is to come. And that's all for today. In the next chapter, titled The Transfiguration, we'll make other very important discoveries. As always, I send you a big hug and thank you for being here. If this content inspired you, leave a like, subscribe to the channel, activate the notification bell, and keep walking with me on this journey of awakening with TAFTI. See you very soon in the next video.